Ridley, not just cinema, the director's new passion for wine, after Pitt and Jolie. With goWare on the set of the winery in Provence, back to Maximus Decimo Meridio. It will hit theaters in November 2024. The Gladiator 2, sequel to the 2000 film, which received 12 Oscar nominations, winning 5 awards including Best Film and Best Actor in a Leading Role Russell Crowe. In the photo, the actor in Sanremo, ed. Sir Ridley Scott, 84 years old and with overwhelming energy, shows no signs of slowing down. In addition to the Gladiator sequel, he has a biopic in store, which is expected to begin filming soon. Ironic, perceptive and tireless, Scott is an innovator of cinema of the last 50 years. His masterpieces include science fiction milestones such as Alien, 1979, and Blade Runner, 1982, while with Thelma and Louise, 1991, he created a road movie symbolizing female emancipation, starring 2 actresses extraordinary as Geena Davis and Susan Sarandon. Although he never won the Oscar for Best Director, his almost 50 films, which range across different genres, have left an indelible mark on the history of cinema. Ridley Scott and his passion for viticulture. In the last few years, the director also cultivated a passion for viticulture. In his Mas des Infirmières estate, a 30-hectare castle at the foot of the Luberon Massif in central Provence, purchased in 1992, produces fine wines. Now he has decided to expand his business. He has transformed 3 villas on his property into welcoming guest residences. Each villa, with attention to the smallest details, has a private swimming pool and a grandiose view of the vineyards that climb the surrounding hills. From now on, it will be possible to stay in this magical place, located in one of the most pristine and evocative regions of the south of France. Here's where the location of an excellent vintage is. The 40-minute journey from Marseille Airport to the estate is a dive into postcard Provence. Picturesque villages with light stone houses adorned with cornflower blue shutters, lush orchards, centuries-old olive groves, expanses of fragrant lavender and vineyards climbing the hills, which preside over a unique landscape which in certain panoramas recalls that of central Tuscany. The estate Ridley Scott's Mas des Infirmières is nestled in a unique setting, that of the Rhône Valley, illuminated by the crystalline and diaphanous light of Provence. This land has always inspired artists such as Van Gogh, Gauguin, Cézanne, Renoir, Matisse, and de Staël. Cézanne found an inexhaustible source of inspiration in the silhouette of Mount Sainte-Victoire, which he observed from his window. He created around 50 works with this subject, which, as happened to Mondrian with his tree, pushed him to go beyond the figurative to arrive at the geometric and the abstract, opening the way to new artistic currents. Just 10 kilometers away from Mas des Infirmières are some of the most picturesque villages of the Luberon, such as Menebs, renowned for having hosted artists of the caliber of Picasso and Nicolas de Staël, Luzul-sur-la-Sorgue, a pretty river town, and Gourdes, the charming village perched on the hill where Scott filmed much of An Excellent Year, a 2006 romantic comedy starring Russell Crowe, Marion Cotillard, and Albert Finney. Between 1953 and 1954, Nicolas de Staël stayed in Menebs. This period marked a fundamental stage in his artistic development. The painter was deeply struck by the Provençal landscape and its blinding light, elements that decisively influenced his work. During his stay, de Staël created numerous brightly colored paintings inspired by the peculiar quality of Provençal light. In the film, An Excellent Year, the camera lingers long on the landscape, with wide pans and close-ups of the details of the estate and its surroundings. Ridley Scott, with his experience in the world of advertising, he knows perfectly how to sell a place, and in this case, it gives us an unforgettable portrait of Provence. In addition to being a place of great charm, the Mas des Infirmières is also a successful winery. Ridley Scott, animated by a great passion for wine, produces fine wines here also for the palates of connoisseurs. Ridley Scott and his passion for country life. Indeed, his passion for country life dates back to the 70s, when, as a 30-year-old with a successful career in television advertising, he purchased a 9-bedroom medieval mansion on 32 acres of land in the Cotswolds, a hilly area located in the central area of England, largely in Gloucestershire. Ridley Scott was born in South Shields, a coastal town in the county of Tyne, and we're 15 kilometers from Newcastle upon Tyne. That adventure didn't last long, even though the director loved the life and scenery of the Cotswolds, despite the frequent rainfall. Scott started filming quite late. In 1977, at the age of 40, he directed his first film, The Duelists, based on a story by Conrad. A compelling film, rich in symbolism and meaning thanks to inspired direction and impeccable photography. The film takes place in the Napoleonic era and consists of a fierce duel between two cavalry officers of Napoleon's French army, Armand de Hubert and Gabriel Faraud, played respectively by Keith Carradine and Harvey Keitel. The director then very recently returned to Napoleon with a blockbuster of the same name, which received mixed reviews, however bears the unmistakable imprint of the English master and also offers an original and realistic vision of how the figure of the Corsican is still perceived across the Channel. After the success of The Duelists, Ridley Scott, he had to regretfully sell his estates in the Cotswolds to devote himself to cinema. The regret of this step accompanied him until 1991, when he decided to resume that experience, choosing Provence as the chosen location. Scott then turned to a French real estate agent, tasking him with finding a manageable property in a place with a pleasant climate. The search lasted a year, until they proposed the Mastiff Infirmiers to him. From cinema to agricultural sellers who invested beside Scott. Scott is not the only cinema person to have been fascinated by country life and the cultivation of vines. Their Francis Ford Coppola Winery is a renowned agricultural winery founded in 1975 by the director of The Godfather, in California in the Sonoma Valley. Coppola's winery has earned a reputation for producing high-quality wines, characterized by careful grape selection, sustainable growing practices, and innovative winemaking techniques. Wine Spectator magazine awarded the title of Wine of the Year to several Francis Ford Coppola wines, including the Director's Cut Chardonnay 2004 and the Sofia Coppola Pinot Noir 2010. The Coppola family has long managed a series of lodges luxury hotels around the world, including 3 in Belize. The most popular, Blankenau Lodge, boasts 20 villas and cabanas along Pravashin Creek. This summer, George Lucas will inaugurate Chateau Margui, an impressive 18-bedroom farmhouse on his wine estate in the Var region of Provence. The farmhouse has recently been used as luxury accommodation, €145,000 per week. In the UK, Guy Ritchie's estate in Wiltshire hosts chef-led food clubs and welcomes overnight guests every weekend until mid-August. Ridley Scott's fellow citizen, the singer and actor Sting, originally from Walsing, just 10 kilometers from the director's hometown, has a property, the Palagio, in the Valdarno in Tuscany of 350 hectares with 100 of vineyards. Also the Brad Pitt-Angelina Jolie couple in 2008, he purchased an estate in the south of France, the Château Miraval, 500 hectares with 50 dedicated to vineyards and an adjoining villa. Pitt often had himself photographed in the vineyard with his winemaker, even making the cover of Wine Spectator. When the couple separated, the acrimony between the two reached its peak when Angelina decided, unilaterally, to sell his share to a Russian tycoon for the sum of $65 million. Brad, furious, contested the legitimacy of the sale and sparked a legal war involving lawyers with stellar compensation. Director Alexander Payne, a sort of American Ridley Scott, found inspiration for his film Sideways, 2004, by tasting a 1988 Sassicaia during a stay in Florence. The film had a significant impact on the world of wine, particularly Pinot Grigio, the favorite wine of the protagonist played by Paul Giamatti. The monologue of Giamatti on Pinot Grigio has in fact contributed to making this wine known and appreciated by a wider audience, determining its success and changing its perception. In addition to having influenced consumer choices, Sideways has also contributed to changing the meaning of wine in general, establishing it as a sophisticated, intellectual, and almost spiritual experience. The three villas of Ridley Scott's estate. Ridley's three guest houses, located near the village of Apede and the medieval town of Apede-le-Vieux, have been completely renovated in a style that blends classic Provençal architecture with modern comforts, designer furnishings, and contemporary works of art. Scott has personally developed his vision of the homes, creating sketches as he does for his film storyboards, and even actively contributed to the renovations. Mas Gris and Mas Marcou, two of Scott's three properties, are villas that sleep up to 6 people and offer grand views of the surrounding quarry and vineyards. The third residence, Les Chines Verts, the Green Oaks, can accommodate up to 9 people and is slightly more secluded. All villas are characterized by large, bright spaces with large windows and cretonne-style doors, which flood the rooms with typical Provençal light. The interiors, furnished in neutral tones and enlivened by touches of color, have generous living areas that open onto well-equipped kitchens. The bedrooms, equipped with white linen and terracotta floors, each have a private bathroom with independent bathtub and shower. On the outside, they are their private pools, dining terraces, and lounge areas within landscaped gardens with cypress, wisteria, and jasmine. The stays can be self-catering or fully assisted, according to the guest's wishes. Ridley Scott and his interest in wine. When Scott purchased Mas des Infirmières, the property included 11 hectares of newly planted vineyards. Although a long-time wine collector, he had not yet considered the idea of producing it. In 2009, he began cultivating his own vineyards and selling the harvest to a local cooperative. Then the wine began to win awards. In 2017, Scott decided to internalize production, hiring a team and inaugurating a state-of-the-art cellar the following year. He then opened a space to sell the wines, olive oil, and honey produced by the company, which also served as a museum of memorabilia from his films. Today, Mas des Infirmières' wine portfolio includes reds, whites, and rosés. There is also a very pleasant sparkling wine and the latest novelty, Jojo, a natural wine named in honor of Scott's dog.